of Faculty of Technology. Fine. We are at the most important part of this event. Yeah, we are so delighted to listen guest speech. I'm taking the honor to invite Mr. RKA Rifai Karyappa, the coordinator of ICST 2022, for introducing the guest speaker, Professor P.Hewagamage. Sir, it's your time.
Thank you very much indeed. It is my pleasure and gratitude to invite our guest speaker, Professor P.Hewagamage. Professor P.Hewagamage serves as a professor in computer science at the University of Colombo School of Computing and the coordinator of e-learning center at ICST. He holds a bachelor degree in computer science with first-class honors from University of Colombo and a doctorate in information engineering from Hiroshima University. Professor P.Hewagamage has a wide variety of research interests centered around human-computer interaction, software engineering, e-learning, mobile learning, mobile computing, ICT for education, situated and effective computing, information systems, ICT-based community development, and IT project management. Professor P.Hewagamage, who is a senior member of IEEE and ACM, chair of Computer Society chapter of Sri Lanka. At the same time, he is an active member of Computer Society of Sri Lanka and academic advocate of ISACA local chapter. Of course, he has published a number of publications during his career. In fact, his service is very vast, where I can't find adequate time to detail it. I gladly invite Professor P.Hewagamage to the stage. Please, sir.
Okay, very good morning to all of you. First of all, Vice Chancellor of the Southeastern University of Sri Lanka, Professor Ramiz, and also the chairperson and the dean of the faculty, Professor Majid, and the keynote speaker of the conference, Professor Nazim, who just delivered a very interesting, good keynote speech, and Mr. Karyappa, as well as the members of the organizing committee and participants of the conference, academic staff, students, and all invitees. I'm really happy to be part of the conference and share my thoughts and ideas as an invited speech of the conference. So I hope that I can add value for the conference. So can I share the screen, Mr. Karyappa? I have some slides, so it's easier.
Sure, sir, sure.
Yeah.
Sabani?
Okay.
Sabani?
Yeah, I'll provide.
Yeah.
Give
Okay.
the permission to Professor.
Yeah. Okay. Just a minute. I think I shared the wrong way. Hope you can see my screen. Am I correct?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yes,
So the title of my talk is, as you can see, the virtual university, a model to apply for the digital transformation in higher education for the professional development of the graduates. This is one of a very important thing that all of us will really need to think while in the higher education. Well, building the sustainable future through the technology transformation, the main theme of the conference, as Professor Najim mentioned, it's totally depends on our alignment of the sustainable development goals. And that alignment is in a very, very critical to build the sustainable future. The simplest example, which I can take a few years ago, we were thinking we are heading for a developed nation. Now, if you look at the situation in the country today, we are in a very unexpected situation. Why? We realized the things, looking at the figures, and we thought everything is quite okay. And we are on the right track, but it is not the case. The development is not sustainable because if it has any weaknesses, and that could lead to a kind of a bigger problem, and things could be collapsed at any time. So if we are really talking about a sustainable future, then we need to think about a sustainable approach to achieve it. And that is aligning our activities with the goal. So I don't want to go into much details because Professor Najim very nicely explained that one, what are the things we all have to think. So there are 17 sustainable development goals. At the same time, I would like to highlight one thing. Information communication technology plays a bigger role as a frontier technology for all these 17 sustainable development goals. And that is a kind of a very important thing where people really have to know about. So the digital transformation is something that is connected in that context. My talk will be more towards provide the quality education, one of the fourth goal, but it could be linked in directly with many other goals among those 17 sustainable development goals. So virtual university, I hope this term is not completely new. You may have heard, I will explain some of the more details, could be considered as a model to apply the digital transformation in our higher education sector, especially for the professional development of our graduates. Why are we so concerned about the professional development of our graduates? The development of ICT competency, it's very critical in this time of the society, and it has a direct impact on the employability of the day. And if we are really wanting to increase the employability, irrespective of the subject domain they are studying, it's a very important that we need to improve their ICT competency. But when I say ICT competency, it's not just know how to use a computer, how to participate in a Zoom meeting, or just to use this and that. As a knowledge worker, they have to go a little bit more deeper level, which I will explain a little bit more detail. So if I take a little bit deeper inside about the things which is related to the employability, I think it's something all of academics knows about. It's one of a KPI, key performance indicator for any degree program. Some degree programs are quite, we could say, okay, but some degrees have some sort of a problem. They have critical issues. You will see some of the details later. Then the next issue, why are we so concerned about employability as an important matter in a degree program? Especially, this has a main reason in the free education system. I'll explain some of the key factors a little later, but that is a responsibility which we cannot escape as an academics. There are different types of issues that is around the employability. I mean, the key thing is an unemployability. People don't find the jobs, but there are underemployment. That means even though they have a degree, they may be doing something just for me, but they are not using what they have really learned. This has resulted in a kind of a social issue in the employability. I mean, there are some organizations seeing the unemployed graduates, and that is also forcing lots of things. And even if you carefully analyze the present crisis, the government forced to give the jobs for the unemployed one, and they are just employed, but they are not really contributing for their development, even though they are capable group. So there are some issues that we really need to think about. It's not employability is actually the way to contribute back to the society, what they have known. Another important warning that what we really need to think about, the situation is changing very fast. The present situation will be definitely different in 5 years' time. Degree programs which we say have a very good employability, don't expect the situation as it is in a 5 years' time. And we are teaching to the students, and the students are learning, and we are creating a learning environment, but the future is unknown, uncertain to some extent. So having that, let me go a little bit of a detail about the thing. First, on employability. If you, based on the UGC statistics, what we can see, whether it is a state university or non-state university, unemployability is almost 35%. That means out of 100, only 65 people can find the jobs. Others are just struggling to find the jobs. Whether it is in a paid program, whether it is in a public funded program, this is the situation. If you do a little bit of a careful analysis of the employability, as you all know, in the university, now we get more female students. Not because that we do something, they are capable. They are the people who pass the exams, where they come to the university. Even if you look at the overall, 67%, 68% is almost the female. But if you dig a little bit of an unemployability issue, you can see unemployability is more critical among the female students. Why? What is the reason for this? And it's a good research question for someone who wants to find out more details about it. The main reason, I mean, as you can see, whether we don't know whether they are, even though they are qualified, they got a degree, whether they don't have, whether they have a competency to get a job. So then why it is affecting? Almost the same situation, whether it is in a paid program or it is in a public funded university. Across the study streams, when you do a little bit of a detailed analysis, what you can see is an interesting point. This has become critical, especially in humanities and the other degree programs. One of the reasons to introduce the technology stream, I remember a few years ago, is actually to take some of these students to the technology streams. Still, that data is not available. So in a few years' time, we can see the some sort of change. But the critical factor is there. If you look at this in the art stream, irrespective of the university, the problem is there. In some university, the situation is worst. I mean, the almost 35, starting from the 35% to in some universities, it's according to the statistics, it's close to 90%. In your university also, it's very close to 70%. So it's a critical matter whether will happen there. And at the same time, employability is a critical issue in the free education system. Students are not paying. The public funds are used to provide education. And then the people who are providing that graduation has some responsibility to utilize the public funds to produce something good for the society. If they are unemployed, that means they cannot contribute back to the society. And then probably some could say, it's not my job responsibility, it is a student's responsibility to find a job. So why? We have done our job. And the problem is not ours, it's the economy, it's the society. These arguments could be bring. But what I think, well, we need to provide an education which could be utilized by the students to find a good job. Who can be employed after the graduation. So we also have a responsibility. They also have a responsibility. It's a time not to fight, but to look at the problem and collectively resolve it. Is there a payback if they are employed? This is a debatable question. I'm not going into deep, but the most important thing, the payback is not just having a job. They really need to contribute back to the national development. But there are so many issues that we really need to think about. So I looked at the statistics during the last 2 years, 2020 and 2019. Technology students are not in this picture, but still almost 50% of the graduates in this country are coming from our stream. If you combine the arts and management, it's more than 50%. This is actually a kind of a thing where this problem becomes much more. So we have graduates, but then they can't find the jobs. Why? It's a main reason. It's not the academic issue. It's a social issue. In the society, we don't have the required jobs, and the society has a different requirement. For example, the biggest demand at the moment in the job market, what you can see is those who have computing or IT graduates. Right now, in our society, 22,000 graduates, they say, according to the SLASCOM, the industry requires, but both the public and the private universities can produce only 8,000 people. And that is actually because there is predictions, the IT industry could become the #1 industry in the few years' time in Sri Lanka. But in order to go that one, we really need a good human resource. At the same time, quality graduates. When I say quality graduates, it's not their class. Quality graduates is in a kind of a parameter where we need to produce graduates who can do a job in an industry and who can really contribute that one. That is the kind of the definition we really need to work on. Of course, this problem could be addressed in different ways. Curriculum development based on the job market requirement is something that all of us will have to do it. I mean, not just merely looking at an academic things, we really need to see, okay, if you are producing graduates, if he's going for the society, how he can really contribute for the national development, what we really have to do it. So promote the entrepreneurship culture, which is very, very important and hard. And rather than, because sometimes people are looking for a job or provided by them, but normally the majority are not in a position to start their own kind of a job, which is very, very important. And that culture has to be promoted, and that must be promoted based on the subject domain as well as a market requirement. The other thing is to improve their knowledge and skills required in the labor market, not just adding them. And in that context, I think it's, as you all know, IT and the English, the language skills as well as information technology skills is common for everyone, irrespective of the subject domain. Medium of instructions on the employee, this is a kind of statistics. If you looked at those who have done a degree in English have a more chance to find a job. But in Sinhala or Tamil, the situation is a kind of thing. That's a kind of a problem. So, because we know in some universities, the programs are conducted merely in Sinhala or Tamil, and then they don't get an opportunity to learn in English. And that is also affecting when they are trying to find a job. Academic level of employability. This is a very interesting and very kind of statistics, which actually I also became helpless to analyze this one. If you look at carefully, those who got the first classes, I'm talking about irrespective of the subject domain, there is an unemployability rate is 28%. Those who just passed the degree, unemployability rate is 26%. And we think if you got in a first class or second class upper, then you have a better chance of getting a job. Yes, it is a performance of academic. It is not what the industry required. So what does it mean? There is a big mismatch between what we are producing, what the country needs. So it isn't something that we really need to address this problem. So most of the time, the employability depends on the skill. I mean, sometimes the people hire the people without the knowledge, but if they can do the work, okay. And there are, as you all know, hard skills, soft skills. Of course, we can work on the curriculum to develop them. Then people are in today's context talking about the so-called 21st century skills, where people have a learning, literacy, life skills, those different things go into deep. I'm not going into deep and middle, but these things must be improved as a part of our curriculum from the first day to last days, not after the graduation, the skills development. Of course, attitude change also we really need to address. For example, after graduation, people are expecting the big salaries. People are expecting the big, they have a bigger expectation, but that expectation cannot be realized in the society. So, and at the same time, sad, some students, they are not, once they complete, they are not ready to learn. I mean, if you look at me all as an academic, there are a lot of things which we don't know. I'm a professor in computer science, but there are a lot of things in my domain which I don't know, at the same time, which I am not competent to do. Even some of my students are good in doing that part. I had to accept. This is the kind of the society. Our qualification is a historical thing, what we have it. What we can do today is it defines what we are capable. And that is changing. For the future is very challenging. So we need to keep on changing our knowledge, capabilities, skills, both the teachers as well as them. So in that case, you really need to work hard. It's not a time to relax. There is no time to relax, work hard. So IT industry expects, this is based on the /com view, what they expect the skills, irrespective of the degree program. I think technical knowledge, those things are quite different. And where you can see analytical and the problem solving. One of the key things that what we expect from a graduate, irrespective of the domain. And if you carefully analyze, these are the different skills. People really need to work on that one. So even though the soft skills, hard skills are important, industry point of view, these skills must be considered. ICT and the national development is, I don't want to go into deep level, developing the knowledge industry in Sri Lanka, it's the commercial software development and the international market. So it's a kind of a thing, we have capable people and we really need to utilize this knowledge people for the development of the country. ICT for development is every services is becoming a part of it depends on the ICT. And the so-called digital transformation in the society, which we are going for the fourth industrial revolution, is based on the kind of the key things like artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, blockchain, and the cybersecurity. And these are not technology that is specialized for computing people. They are becoming a common technology for everyone. You don't want it to be a graduate in computing to know about these things and to use about those things. They become a part of the tools in the life. And literacy, I mean, it has become a common literacy, as Professor Najib mentioned, I mean, the QR code. And everybody in this country now knows what is a QR code. It is something very small set of people now. Hard to find someone who doesn't know what is a QR code. But people don't know the technology behind it, how it works, but people know how to use it. That is the interesting point. When the technology, we need more people to use the technology. And it has become a social and the personal sustainability matter in that case. Then, with respect to the computing, I'm not going into dates, but people have some sort of thing. What is ICT and computing? ICT is in a technology, but the computing is in a evolution of the computer studies, which comes with the computer science, computer engineering, information technology, information systems, software engineering. Those are the 5 main things which has evolved. The technology is in some sort of a very important thing goes, but as a society, if we really want to move or develop, we really need to consider all these aspects. Right now in the Sri Lankan context, I personally feel we are more biased towards the software side, not the hardware side. And especially we have this number of people who are really could handle the hardware matters. I think the faculties like you, technology faculties, have some more responsibility to promote that thing. And the professional studies and the development are also very important because it's a professional degree. Computing IT is a qualification, is a professional qualification. That means what? It's not like in a theoretical thing. You need to develop it based on the market requirement. And so we need more people. I mean, everyone has to become a kind of a technician to some extent in today's context. And information technology, information systems, and is in a common subjects, irrespective of the subject domain, whether it's a technology, it's arts or management, and even the UGC circulars, we have worked on that one at the Computing Standing Committee, allowing any faculties to start, if necessary, these degree program. But we never wanted to ask to change completely, but to integrate. Even the ICT degree programs and the technology faculties are available. That's also will help the people to specialize from that one. Emerging technologies in the local industry. As I mentioned at the very beginning, I mean, the 5 years time, we don't know nothing what will happen. It's not just using the computers. I mean, the programming is in a kind of an ABC. Even the students who are learning for O-level, they have to know about how to program. It's not on a subject, it's not on a matter that only the computing people should know. Everyone should know how to write in a program and how to use the technologies. Right now, the technology-wise, these are the kind of technologies which are very, very important. And the industry says these things will be very important very soon. So these technologies, awareness, how to use, what are them, okay? It's an important factor that need to promote irrespective of their. So we don't want to change the degree program, but we need to really improve the culture and the knowledge about them. And distribution of the trending technologies. I mean, what we see, the picture today is not the picture in a few years' time. Okay, so therefore, it's a very important to keep a track on this one. Impact and the integration of the technology. And this is what will happen. Artificial intelligence, augmented reality, virtual reality, blockchain, drones, Internet of Things, robotics, 3D printing, cybersecurity. These technologies will spread to every sector in the society. So everyone will have to know. I mean, they don't want to specialize. They should know how to use them, even for the whatever the work they do it. And as I mentioned earlier, the programming languages. So the people really need to start learning. And these things should be provided. I mean, as you can see, it's becoming the common technology. Everyone should know, should learn. And that's developed the professional side of one. So at the same time, the industry says one of the problem in our graduates, even though we have 8,000 people, among the 8,000 people, there are some problems. Among the 8,000 people, the industry says 50% they can't employ. They just have a nice qualification, but they even can't do the work. In some countries, IT graduates are bus drivers. Okay, and 34% of the graduates are not in a position to apply the technology in a working context. This is a kind of a thing that you have to keep it. Even we are talking about promoting IT in the non-IT sector, but this even could happen there. Quality education is a critical thing, role of the qualified teachers, but we are facing economic challenges. And the universities will have more and more problems. Not only your university, even universities like Columbia University, we have a big problem. Teachers are leaving. we are talking about improving the quality, but how do we do it? Outcome-based education is very important. Student-centered learning important. ICT for learning will have to really need to put it. But in that case, we need to really come with a new model. Deliveries also have challenge due to many factors, as you can see here. So we need to go for a face-to-face to online, online to blended, and most probably we'll have to go to the hybrid, and where online or physical people could participate in the future. So reforms are very, very important. Central locations. So in a university-wise, you can start the reforms, having a common IC center, then the study streams, IT and IS faculties and the service department, where to career development is a very, very important thing we learn. So I'm just pointing the keywords where people can really work hard. And there's something that we are working on these days, which I would like to share with you, is this virtual university concept. So virtual university in many countries has a way to promote or provide the professional development through online courses. So then it reduces the burden on the universities, and the students will really need to learn this one. This is a link with the so-called continuing professional education, CPE credits. People really need to, traditionally people think about after graduation, you need to have a CPE credits. They are not like an academic credits. CPE credits has it depreciates with the time. Okay, if the technology changes, so then what you know is today will be outdated tomorrow. And the professional development, it's something that has done. Then the before graduation start collecting, and the credit depreciates with the time. So the students, not after graduation, people are not ready to learn. So from the first day onwards, these things should be started. Show someone's competency in the field, offered in a reputed organization. And the e-portfolio concept is very, very important to show these professional development. Online and on-site courses could be provided. And one place can't. All universities could contribute in that exercise. And that is where we really need a model, a virtual university model. It is not another open university. It's a university, a federated university entity where all universities join together and have a common set of courses. Even the Southeastern University can contribute to the open university model, and the students from the other universities can learn. And at least in every university could say, you can earn those credits. Even the UGC has a very good circular last year, this credit transfer circular, or the acceptance of the pre-learning qualification. And the students have a freedom. And that will bring a new culture for the education culture in our society. So this will help us to promote the mobility in the higher education. I mean, the students do not want to restrict to learn only at the Southeastern. Even they can come to the Colombo, and the Colombo students can come to there, and to some extent of there. We really need to promote the freedom in the education than the free education. Sometimes the free education, I personally believe, has a negative effect on the expanding the higher education in this country. So it's a place, it could become a place to redeem what you have learned. I mean, this is also another thing. There are lots of people. I mean, in this country, 3 people apply for universities, only 1 get an opportunity, 2 people fail to get it. That is the situation in the UGC level. And therefore, it's the 2 people have sacrificed for a 1 person for the free education. So then what are we going to do for the other people? So if they can really learn, internationalization of higher education is a very, very important. How can we do? That is, we need digital transformations to do that one. So formal recognition and credits for the providers. Hope this is not a new thing. MOOCs, massive online open courses, it's a kind of a thing which has become a new trend in higher education in the international arena. And why we really need a virtual university is to promote this culture within our university system, and partner with an international course providers. And then virtual university become a federated entity that could exist in the university systems in Sri Lanka. Well, this is not a it's a main theme will be based on the professional development. So online courses for academic and local and international collaboration. And you know that Coursera, edX, FutureLearn, Udemy, and how many technological courses. These are good for everyone, even for the non-graduates, even the school leavers. They have to learn it. And if they learn it, how do we recognize formally in our curriculum, in the system? We need to have an entity for that one. So if you look at this one, I mean, I did a little bit of a literature survey. In the Pakistan, Virtual University of Pakistan is a very famous entity for the last 20 years. This was a kind of a different open university, I would say. They have integrated more on the information technology, and that provides a better environment for the large number of people to get a higher education qualification. In India, if you go for the Swami Foundation and the platform, that provides almost the same thing. And Indonesia Cyber Education Institute, you will find they do this one. And remember, all these three countries has a big population than Sri Lanka. Okay, and they can't have the universities for the based on the population. We need to have a model that will facilitate the society irrespective of the population. In Malaysia also, you find the similar entities. Even in places like US, Michigan University, they have this so-called virtual campus model where you promote the people to come and do. So as that way. An African virtual university is an integration within all the places there. So what we are proposing, and even now UGC has accepted, and I hope in the coming months and years, we will be able to establish this type of an entity in our higher education sector to promote the education. So mainly transforming so establishment of the University Grant Commission, and it will all public and higher education institute can be linked. Private universities also we can invite. Professional organizations, including the SLASCOM, can become members, and it will definitely bring the benefits to the students and scholars, loan schemes, and the many things. Some of the facilities. I mean, sometimes the university doesn't have any resources to buy some access to some articles, or it may not have facilities like Turnitin. I mean, it's a very costly tool that you have to buy. But in the virtual university concept, even the academics, they are part of that one. They can access those resources from there. Certification for the student portfolio through e-portfolio. It is very important. It is not what you have achieved. It is the portfolio which describes what you can do now. And benefits to the partner organization. Yeah, of course, the open education opportunity for a large community. It's not serving for the people who are coming to the university. We have a bigger responsibility to serve to the people who are not coming to the university. And that is one of the bigger responsibility to make the education for all. That is one of the main theme that we really come. So collaborate academic professional outside higher education institutes. It's not restricted to your faculty. It's not restricted to your university, and contribute academic professional programs by offering few courses. So thank you very much. So I'm really happy to deliver this speech based on the work what I do it now. And sorry if I have taken a little bit of more time. If you have any question, you can put it on the chat box without disturbing there. So I'm happy to answer them. And once again, the Vice Chancellor and the Dean and the organizing committee, thank you very much for inviting me to do the special invited speech. I hope in a very near future, I like to visit your faculty and see it. I remember those days. So hope you'll get that kind of an opportunity. Really want to come physically and see. And congratulate, you are doing a very good, and organizing in international conferences are very, very important. We really need to take our research and development to the society. And conference is in a kind of hub, which we really can make it. And all the work you can record it and you can share YouTube to the rest of the world. and the people, and take, as Vice Chancellor very nicely explained, it is a time to do a research and publish. It is a time to take this research outcome to the practical things and contribute back to the society as a way to pay back what we have really obtained. So thank you very much, and have a nice day and have a nice conference. Over to you.
Thank you so much for our guest speaker, Professor P.Hewagamage. Really,